Christ.
Amen.
Today we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about some issues that can happen to us, and these are not something that happens to people when they walk away from God. This isn't something that can happen to somebody because they're living wrong. This can be something that can sneak into the life of any believer, and that's disappointment. Who knows that today? Anybody can become victim to disappointment. We're going to be in Genesis 42. We're going to talk about a guy who is disappointed. Talk about a man named Jacob. Jacob has a problem. The land Jacob's family resides on is in the midst of a great famine. But the famine isn't Jacob's problem. See, Jacob's problem is the answer to that famine. We see that, I'm going to read a little bit here, and then we're going to dive into this, but we see that there is an answer to a problem Jacob has. And that answer is Jacob's problem. It's going to be in Genesis 42. I'm going to read a bit here, 1 through 20. It says, when Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, why do you look at one another? And he said, indeed, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die. So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, lest some calamity befall him. And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor over the land. It was he who was sold to all the people of the land. It was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly to them. Then he said to them, where did you come from? And they said, from the land of Canaan to buy food. So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dreams that he had dreamed about them and said to them, you are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land. And they said to him, no, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies. But he said to them, no, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land. And they said, your servants are 12 brothers, the son of the man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more. Remember that. One is no more. But Joseph said to them, it is as I spoke to you, saying, you are spies. In this manner you shall be tested by the life of Pharaoh. You shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. So he put them all together in prison 3 days. And then Joseph said to them the third day, do this and live forever, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house. But you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you right now thankful for who you are. Lord, we ask that you minister to this house, Lord God, that your words pierce our hearts today, Lord God, that our lives, Lord God, any disappointment that we're dealing with right now, anything, Lord God, that we have allowed us to operate less than what you called us to be, Lord God, we ask that that is addressed today, Lord God, and that it's changed. That we give it to you, that we give all that stuff to you today and allow you to take care of it, because you can take care of it. And we ask that you bless this sermon on today. I'm not interested in being heard today, but your word will bless the altars. We'll give you the praise, and we'll give you the glory. Everybody says, amen and amen. Okay, so where we're at in Genesis 42, I know I just read a lot, but we know, and I want to foreshadow here for a minute, we know that Jacob was a dreamer. That was Jacob. He was a dreamer. All right, Jacob was the one that he laid his head on a rock, and he had a dream. We know Jacob's ladder. He seen angels ascending and descending. Jacob was a dreamer. Jacob was the one that went to sleep and woke up and wrestled with God. Okay? He was a dreamer. And he gave birth to a dreamer in Joseph. We know Joseph's story. I'm not going to just really go into that, but Joseph had a dream that all his brother's straw bowed to his. And because of that, they were envious of him, and they were going to have him killed. They had him sold into slavery. Okay? So he was taken to Egypt. After a big rigmarole, he ends up being the governor of Egypt. Okay? The Bible tells us that when they brought the robe, there was the coat of many colors to Jacob, Joseph's coat to Jacob, it says that he mourned so deeply that he went into sackcloth and ashes, which is like the deepest form of mourning. And he obviously he hadn't recovered since. So here we see that now there's a famine that's taken over Canaan. And it's a bad one. And he says, you know what, y'all need to go to Egypt, and because I hear there's grain there. They've got grain. That's the answer to this famine. Egypt is the answer. We know the answer. It's Egypt, right? So he says, y'all need to go and get this taken care of. So they go, they get there, and then Joseph immediately recognizes them, as the Bible tells us. And he begins to say, you know, where's that other brother at? Where's that other brother? I think you're spies. Where's that other brother at? He says, well, Benjamin is with Dad. He's with Dad. You know, we're 10 brothers, and Benjamin's with Daddy, and then we got one, and he's no more. Remember that, he's no more. He doesn't exist anymore, they say. He's gone. He's toast. He doesn't exist anymore. So he says, well, here's the deal. I'm going to let y'all have some grain. But first, I got to know who you are, so I need you to go get Benjamin and bring him back here so that we can work this thing out. We're going to figure this out. Joseph had a plan, but that's what he tells him. You go back and get Benjamin, and when you bring him back here, I know you're not spies, and you can have some grain. So there is an answer to the famine. Now let's look at this. This is going to be brought to Jacob, and then we're going to go somewhere with this, I promise. Okay, 42, 36 through 38. And it says, and Jacob their father said to them, you have bereaved me. They told him, hey, we need Benjamin. If you want some grain, if you want to end this famine, we need Benjamin. So he says, their father said to them, you have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. He's not over it. Simeon, he's the brother that got left behind, is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin. All these things are against me. Jacob had a problem. The problem was not the famine. There was an answer to the famine. The problem was the answer to the famine. The answer to the famine was, Jacob, you got to put yourself back out there. Yeah. See, Jacob was, I guarantee you this is where Jacob is. We see this. Jacob lost his son, his dreamer. I believe that when you've seen Joseph back in the day, you've probably seen Jacob. Anybody know anybody that when you see their kid, you see, you're like, man, they look just like their daddy, or they're just like their mama. And I'm going to say that's what Joseph and Jacob was like. I'm sure when you've seen Joseph, it was like seeing little Jacob. And I'm sure Jacob seen Joseph. Jacob seen a lot of himself in Joseph. We know that there was a special bond between Jacob and Joseph. And so now Joseph is gone, and he's done, and he died. And Jacob thinks, Jacob sent him out there with the sons, to go check on the other boys, and he never came back, and he's dead. Jacob probably got a lot of guilt about that. So now the other sons are saying, you've got to take Benjamin. Benjamin he's the youngest. He came after Joseph. He was after the tragedy. He was probably the thing that helped get Jacob through the tragedy. Are you with me today? He probably was the thing that helped get him through the tragedy. And you're telling me I got to send him out now? No. The last time this happened, it ain't so good. The last time I put myself out there, the last time I sent somebody out, I never seen them again. They're gone. The last time that I tried to do what I felt was the right thing to do, it backfired on me. And I've not ever been the same. There's been a piece of me missing ever since. All I have left now is Benjamin. And you're saying I got to send him out too? All I've got left is Benjamin from this thing. The only thing that's keeping me around is Benjamin now. And you're saying I've got to send him too? See, he says, you bereaved me of my children. All things are against me, he says. So Jacob has a problem. Like I said, the governor, the second in command behind the Pharaoh of Egypt, has the grains Jacob's family needs to overcome the famine. But to receive the portion, he has to send his youngest son, Benjamin. Jacob faced an issue many still face today. How do I make this decision when my last decision went so wrong? How do I make this choice when my last choice ended so badly? How do I risk putting myself back out there when last time it hurt so bad? Christians, and yes, I said Christians, we deal with this today. I was hurt by a church. How can I ever work in it again? I was hurt by a situation. It may have been a different church. It may have been a different people. It may have been a different deal. but that pain is still carried around like a wound, and you bleed on everything. Disappointment is a wound. I want you to know that today. Disappointment is a wound. And when you don't address it, it does just like a wound does. It gets infected. And you know what that infection does? It gets on everything. Everything you try to touch, everything you try to do, every relationship you try to build, every time you try to get excited about something, that wound gets all involved in it. And that past experience gets all involved in it. Every time you try to make a relationship, that past... Can I tell you today, there's a reason in the Bible that, if you recall, Paul went to a place and he preached there and they didn't receive him very well. And the Lord told him, hey, get out of there and you knock every bit of dust off of you and keep trucking, right? He says, I don't want any part of that town on you. There's a reason for that, because if the Lord knew that if Paul left with some of that town on him, it would affect the next town. There's a lot of people today that have allowed past seasons to affect future seasons. They've allowed past struggles to affect future blessings. Jacob was in a position where he was allowing a past failure to affect what could be a possible future blessing. And it was like a wound. And he's bleeding on everything. He's bleeding on all these things. Have you ever seen people that they have a bad marriage and it leads to 3 bad marriages? Because they allowed one bad situation to affect every situation after that. Have you ever seen somebody that was part of one bad church split and then they hopped around churches the rest of their lives? Because they knew that infection, that wound that took place never healed, and it continued to get on everything. They looked for reasons to find problems. Every time they seen anything that looked similar to that last thing, they got scared and they left. Because the last thing they want to do is go through that again. Every time anything that looked like what happened then, I don't want a part of that anymore. They get a ministry and it gets to going good and there's a little bump and they panic and they quit. Because I don't want anything that looked like what happened that one time when I got hurt so bad. Come on, somebody. Are you with me today? And we allow past things to affect future blessings. That's where Jacob's at. He's got this wound. And it's bleeding on everything. The famine is this close to being over. All we got to do is get Benjamin to Egypt. And we got grain. But that just seems like way too big a task. Because I may not make it if something happens again. Can I tell you that if God calls you to do it, it will always work out.
Amen.
It may not work out like anyone wants it to work out. We have a major problem. Word this the right way. The reason we have a disappointment problem in the world today is because we have an expectation problem in the world today.
Yeah.
We think things ought to go the way we picture them they ought to go. Picture them the way that we think they ought to go. We think when we have our kid, they ought to act the way the kids act on Facebook with other people when they have kids. You know what you don't get pictures of on Facebook? Is that kid at 12, 15. You get the one where they're all, snuggled up to you and you think, well, I want a kid. Come on. You look on Facebook and you see a puppy. You say, I want a puppy. And then you don't know, you've got house training to do. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. We have expectations. Our marriages, we see other people and they're all snuggled up and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I want a marriage like that. My marriage don't look like that. Well, you've set an expectation that's not realistic. You're just seeing a portion of that. Are you with me today? Social media is the reason. We have crazy expectations on our lives because we get on social media and I get on Facebook and we just see the good things in people's lives and we think that's the only things in their lives. And then we set an expectation that's not realistic in order to look like somebody else's. Are you with me today? So we have an expectation problem. Jacob never wanted to go through a hard time again. He never wanted to go through anything like what he went through with Joseph. That's not realistic because he's in life, and life stuff happens. So here he's got an expectation problem that's led to a disappointment problem. And here he is now saying, I can't get away. I can't give into this. I can't allow this to happen. So back to, like I said, back to Jacob here. Jacob was battling this because he perceived 3 things. I'm going to go into 3 things here. Before I go into this, let me tell you, Joseph was Jacob's hope, his dream, and his calling. Whatever you want to call it, that's what he was. See, Joseph was Jacob's mean to the promise God gave him. Remember when Jacob had the dream, and God told him, just like he told Abraham and Isaac, he said, hey, I'm going to make your descendants like the sea on the shore, like the stars in the sky. Remember that? Jacob believed Joseph was the means to that. So when Joseph left, there goes his dream. There goes his future. There's no more prophecy in my life. It's over. Are you with me today? Because he thought it should all go through Joseph. So when Joseph died, Jacob perceived three things. Jacob perceived three things. The first one was this. He perceived his dream was dead. It's over. What God told me ain't going to work out now. You ever thought that? What God laid on my heart for my children ain't going to work out now. They turned out different than I was hoping they had. I had a different expectation. What was going to happen for my parents, or my family, or my job, or for me, or for my marriage, or for my finances, it ain't ever going to happen now because it ain't going along with my expectation. It can't ever happen now. Jacob said, Jacob expected Joseph to carry the torch that Jacob had carried. And now he's gone and ruined his expectation, and it created a disappointment in him. And now his dream's dead. Is somebody hear me today? But can I tell you, things of God don't die. Things of God don't die. Just because he couldn't see it anymore didn't mean it was dead. It was just buried. See, things that are buried, let me say this the other way. There's two things. There's two ways that things are hidden in the earth. There's buried and there's planted. Okay? Jacob no longer seen Joseph, so he assumed he was buried and breaking down. He's dead. The wolves got him. Right? So he assumed he was buried and breaking down. But the actual truth was he wasn't buried and breaking down. He was buried. He wasn't around anymore. When I say buried, he wasn't around anymore. He wasn't seen. But there was a time God intended for him to burst back through again. He was planted. When a farmer plants something, it's not with the expectation that he'll never see it again. When a farmer plants something, it's with the belief and the faith that sometime or another, this thing's going to do what it's supposed to do, and I'm going to see it again, and it's going to break through. He believed Joseph was dead, to never be seen again. But things of God do not die. Can I tell you today, Christian, in your life, there may be things that God promised you that you have not seen. There may be things in your life that have not happened yet that you know without a shadow of a doubt God told you would happen. You believe it as much as you've ever believed anything. And you may have allowed the devil to convince you because you haven't seen it yet that it's dead and that it's buried and that it's broken down. But I want to encourage you, and this is from God, I believe this, that thing is not buried, it's just planted. And when the atmosphere is right, and when the circumstances are the way that they need to be, that thing is going to burst through. And it's going to be better than anything you could ever imagine. It'll be far greater than the expectations you set on it. Glory to God. Jesus, Jesus. Jacob had an expectation. And because that it did not go that way, because it was buried, it's over. My dream is dead. It'll never work out. That was how it was supposed to go. And it didn't. So it's over. He was supposed to be the one. She was supposed to be the one, and she wasn't. So it's over now. My children were supposed to accomplish this and accomplish that, but they didn't. So it's over now. This was supposed to happen this way. Mama was supposed to live longer. Daddy was supposed to be around a lot longer. This was supposed to happen. That was supposed to, come on. My finances were supposed to get me through. But they didn't. And now it's all over. The devil likes to place that in us. It's all over now. But God's plan does not die. If you don't get anything else, get that today. What God blesses, no man can curse. Things God ordained don't fade, they are fulfilled. So he thought since his dream was dead, his God-given future would never come to fruition. When he sees the bloody robe, I bet he thought it'll never happen now. Can I tell you today, the devil has convinced too many people that events in their life have made God wrong. Divorce, breakups, jobs, poor financial decisions, health problems. God wants me to tell somebody that the blood on that robe wasn't goat's blood. It was goat's blood. I'm sorry, I just said that wrong. When they brought that robe to Jacob, it was not Joseph's blood. Right? Remember that? So they bring it to him and they say, here's the robe. And he said, surely that's my son. And he says he begins to mourn. But the blood on that robe was goat's blood. It was not Joseph's blood. It was not his dream's blood. It was not his calling's blood. It was on his future's blood. That was goat's blood. Now, in the Bible, it talks about sheep and goats, right? Sheep are things of the spiritual, goats are things of the world. Listen to this, somebody. There are a lot of people that the devil have shown them things of the world that have died in their life, and he's convinced them that it's things of God. He showed them relationships that didn't work out, and he said, look, you'll never make it now. When the truth was that relationship had to die so that the better relationship would come along. He shows them health problems and says, look, you ain't never going to make it now. Look at this. And he shows it to them. And honestly, that health problem could change their life forever. I'll say this, I don't believe Lisa will care a bit. Today, Tommy is a born-again Christian, isn't he? That health problem, the devil wanted to show that to Lisa, I'm sure, and Tommy and everybody else, and say, this ain't ever going to work. It ain't ever going to happen now. Your dream's over. But God said, no. I've got something better. Because you know what? Tommy may have had a temporary thing here, but now he's got an eternal thing there. That's goat's blood he was trying to show her. That's goat's blood. Listen to me today. God, the devil has made a living showing people things of the world, things that were necessary, and saying, look, it's over now. And all along, the best thing that ever happened to you is that thing died. Yes. The best thing that ever happened to you was that relationship didn't work out. The best thing that ever happened to you was that job didn't work out. The best thing that ever happened to you was that your child went through that, because now they're going to be better than what they were before. Yes. The best thing that ever happened to your marriage is that you went through that, because now you're going to be stronger than you ever were before. Are you with me today? Jesus. He was convinced he was dead because of the evidence that was shown, but the evidence was wrong. What died didn't hinder your future, it helped it. That's for somebody. What died didn't hinder your future, it helped it. God was pruning away what you didn't need to make room for what you do. Isaiah 64 says, we are the clay, you are the potter. A potter removes what's hindering the pottery from being what he envisions it to be. Do you understand that today? Number 3 is he was convinced if he ever did it again, it would end the same way. If he ever did it again, it would end the same way. Heartbreak. Now, Jacob is given an opportunity to overcome his famine, but he had to release Benjamin to be escorted by Reuben and Judah. I love symbolism in Scripture, y'all, especially Old Testament stuff. All right, so I'm going to read a scripture here. 43, 3 through, okay. Okay, this is 43:3, okay? This is after he says, what are y'all thinking? I ain't sending Benjamin. Then it says, Judah spoke to him, saying, the man solemnly warned us, saying, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. We're going to end this famine. That's what he's saying, right? We will go down and buy you food, but if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. And Israel said, why did you deal so wrongfully with me as to tell the man you still had another brother? Why did you tell this guy that there was anything left of me? Why did you tell them I had any more to give? Come on, somebody, listen to this. Why did you tell them I had any more to give? But they said, the man asked us pointedly about ourselves and our family, saying, is your father still alive? Have you another brother? And we told him according to these words, could we possibly have known that he would say, bring your brother down? Then Judah said to Israel, his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go that we may live and not die. Both we and you and also our little ones. I myself will be surety for him. For my hand you shall require, from my hand you shall require him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. Here I want to find this, and this is in 37, backing up to 42. That was what Judah said. This is what Reuben had to say. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, kill my 2 sons, if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. But he said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity should befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. So you have 2 sons. You have Reuben and Judah. And I love symbolism. I'm about to do something here. Trav, come here. Come in on your back's bothering me. Can you help me out here, Rob? Brad, can you help me out? Perry, can you help me out? I love symbolism. in Old Testament Scripture because it shows us so much about what God's plan in the future, right? So here's the deal. Listen to this. We had 4 people. We have Benjamin. That's going to be Perry, the youngest here in the group. We got Benjamin. We've got Judah, the brother. We've got Reuben, the brother. And we got Joseph. All right? Now listen to this. Reuben and Judah say, if you'll send Benjamin to us, we'll take care of it. We've got a plan. Now, I love this. Okay. So Benjamin represents Benjamin represents what's left of Jacob. It's everything he's got left. It's his life. Are you with me? It's his life. It's everything that he's got left. So here we go. We have Benjamin. And Reuben and Judah are saying, if you'll give him to us, we'll deliver him where he needs to go and he will not be hurt. Judah represents praise. That's what Judah means. Praise, worship. Jesus came from the Lion tribe of Judah. Reuben represents second chances, redemption. Because see, Reuben was the one that said, let's not kill him, let's sell him. The last time Reuben had an opportunity to save him, he didn't do it. Are you with me today? He represents a second chance, a chance to make it right, a chance to do it right, a chance to change things. He represents redemption. It's more here, Rob. So here we see, this is big, y'all. Grab a hold of this. We see that the Bible tells us if you will give the rest of your life, your Benjamin, if you will give it to praise and you will give it to redemption, if you'll give it, that's what Jesus does. If you will give it to what Jesus does, that's redemption. That's grace. Are you with me today? If you will be a praiser past your problem, and you will give God the opportunity to be God in your life, to be for the redemptive blood of Jesus to flow through your life, then I will show you that your Joseph never died. If you will give your life to what Jesus wants to do, he's going to say, not only will I take care of what's left of you, I will show you that you never lost what you think you lost. That your Joseph is still alive. And he's not just alive, but he is thriving. He's done things that you never thought he could do. He's gone places you didn't think he ever could go. If you will give your life, if you will get out there one more time, if you'll put yourself back out there, if you'll muster whatever you've got left, can I tell you, a little faith is better than no faith at all. If you'll give just a little bit of what you've got left, and you will give it to praise and worship, and you'll give it all to God, and you allow him to be redemptive in your life, and allow him to do a work in you, you will see your Joseph. Will somebody give God praise? Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Jacob was convinced he was dead, but when he finally gave him Benjamin, when he finally said, boys, I'm going to trust you. I don't want to do it. It don't sound fun. I'm scared to do it. Who knows today? Sometimes God can use. I was going to tell you, if you'll step out in faith, I don't care if it's scared faith or not, God will do a work. There's sometimes that Kendall takes steps and they're not fun steps. I don't just jump there and say, let's go. There's sometimes that they're scared steps. There's steps that are, I'm a little nervous today. There's steps that says, I hope this works out. But there's steps of faith because I know that I can't make it on my own. So I take the step anyway. Yeah, I'm nervous about it, but I know God's God. And when I take that step, and when you take that step, God is God. You understand that thing? And he will do a work. Lord, God, stand all over the house. Miss Penny, will you come? Share, will you come?